Hello and welcome to SGPN's The Daily Dog. I'm your host, Britton Hess. I'm here with my favorite Underdog fantasy pick and plays for Monday, February 24th, 2025. If you're new to Underdog Fantasy, sign up for promo code DailyDog, DAILYDOG at UnderdogFantasy.com or on the Underdog Fantasy app. Get a $1,000 deposit match bonus or 50% of whatever you deposit, max of $2,000. So max deposit $2,000, get $1,000 for free. If you deposit $20, you get $10 for free, etc., etc. Good promo code, best promo code out there. So take advantage of promo code DailyDog on UnderdogFantasy.com or on the Underdog Fantasy app. All right, let's get to it. I'm sorry this show's coming out a little late today. Big, busy morning here in the Casa del Dog. But we got to keep going. I feel bad. I haven't shaved in days. I look like, Santa with the white beard. But I need to shave. I need to get caught up on plenty of work. But you know what? At the end of the day, the real work that matters is putting in the time, putting together these entries. And I've got a ton of Underdog entries today. So let's work through these and get after it. NBA number one, Nick Claxton, higher than 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's playing against the Wizards. I think the Wizards are a team that can be gotten on the inside by a big man like Nick Claxton. He's not a dominant, amazing player, but I do really like him as a player. I think that, length, size, and scoring ability, and, obviously size to get boards is quite important. And I think that they're going to, I just don't think the Wizards are going to have it after, a big disappointing loss in Orlando most recently. Give me Claxton higher than 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And then we're going to go pairing this with later in the evening, Domantas Sabonis higher than 33.5 points and rebounds against the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets are bad inside. Sabonis is obviously a high-scoring, high-board-getting. He gets assists here and there too, but I think that just in this one, I'm going to focus on the points and rebounds. Let's go for like 20 and 15, get over this number. Domantas Sabonis against the Hornets, higher than 33.5 points, plus rebounds. Domantas Sabonis. Nick Claxton, higher than 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. That is a 3x multiplier. All right, next up, NBA number two. We are going deep into the assist markets. We're going to start out with Nikola Jokic, higher than 10.5 assists. Obviously, Jokic is the man. He is a guy who's a triple-double every time he steps on the floor. That's not breaking news. But I do think that in this matchup, he's going to have plenty of opportunities to get lots of helpers because it's going to be a high-scoring, high-paced game against the Pacers. You know what? He can become a primary scorer, but generally speaking, he's more of like a scorer in the teens. Sometimes he goes up into the high 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever. But I think low 20s, high teens for points is probably most likely here. But I do expect him to get 11 or more assists in this matchup. He hasn't gotten 11 or more assists in 4 games. He's due to get over it here. 5 games, actually. Only had 10 against the Lakers. So Jokic, he can do this. His assist average is 10.2 per game. So, he's been a little bit below average in the last couple of games, but again, this matchup definitely indicates that he's going to have a huge number on the stat sheet, basically in all the important categories, including assists. Getting a little bonus here as well. And then we're going to go with Cade Cunningham, higher than 9.5 assists, as the Pistons play against the LA Clippers. The Clippers, again, a pretty slower paced team. This total's only 221.5. But again, Cade Cunningham is just coming to his own, especially after the All-Star break. He's been hot. I really like them. It's a back-to-back. Maybe he's going to shoot a little less, potentially. I don't think so. You'll hear more on that later. But I do think that he's going to have another game where he's pushing a triple-double, higher than 9.5 assists for Cade Cunningham. It really helps that some of the other guys have been shooting well and scoring well. So that means that when he passes it and they get a shot up, it is very likely to go in. This is a 3.52x multiplier for Nikola Jokic, higher than 10.5 assists, and Cade Cunningham, higher than 9.5 assists. All right. NHL number one, only 2 games, but there's still some spots that I very much like in the NHL slate today. We know Mark Scheifele higher than 0.5 assists for the Jets. They're going to be able to score some goals against the Sharks. I think the Sharks are going to be a little more competitive than the betting lines would indicate. I mean, this is one of those crazy lines where it's like half tempting just to blindly throw money on the dog because you're getting, like 4-1. But I think Scheifele is going to be able to get an assist in this game. I think they're going to score 3 or 4 goals, and I think Scheifele's got a high likelihood the center is going to have a chance to get a piece of one of those with a helper. Then we're going back to the well. I always play Anze Kopitar assists for the Kings. I'm doing it again. I think the Kings are in a good spot against the Golden Knights this evening. Kopitar higher than 0.5 assists is what I'm rolling with. He did it for us last entry. He did it. He's just the man, the myth, the legend, the one of these older guys, not quite on the level of like Alexander Ovechkin or Sidney Crosby, but another older guy who's just been productive for a long time and still staying productive this season. Higher than 0.5 assists for Kopitar, higher than 0.5 assists for Mark Scheifele of the Jets, 3.32x multiplier. All right, NHL number 2, Connor Hellebuyck, higher than 1.5 goals against. I know that they're playing the Sharks, but 2 goals is very doable. I know Hellebuyck's the best goalie in the NHL. Again, still very doable. I don't think that he's going to shut him out. I think they're going to get 2 goals. I think Macklin, Calabrini, and some of these other young guys on the Sharks are still tough to stop. I don't necessarily think that the Sharks are going to win the game. I mean, it's tempting, as I said earlier, but higher than 1.5 goals, very, very good number. And then we're going to take Tomas Hertl of the Vegas Golden Knights, higher than 2.5 shots. He has had 3+ shots in, I want to say, 4 consecutive games. He's been shooting a lot more, dating back to before the All-Star break. Give me Tomas Hertl higher than 2.5 shots. Then we're going to continue here with that was a 2.77x multiplier with Hertl higher than 2.5 shots, Hellebuyck higher than 1.5 goals. All right, college basketball number 1, Juwan Gary of Nebraska, higher than 14.5 points against Michigan. He plays really well at home. He had a very bad showing on the road at Penn State. He's had some time to recover, time to get back on track. Higher than 14.5 points. He's a leader of this team. Huskers need him in a tightly lined game. Higher than 14.5 for Thomas Gary. Then we're going to go to JT Toppin, higher than 16.5 points for the Texas Tech Red Ragers as they host Houston tonight. Obviously, he was involved in a very controversial play where he was got a flagrant 2 when they went to Houston. He only played 4 minutes in that game. So he might have some pent-up aggression in this game. I think that Toppin, who averages high teens per game, is going to do just fine against this Houston defense, because I think the Red Raiders are going to be pissed, even though they did win that game in Houston last time in overtime. Juwan Gary higher than 14.5 points. JT Toppin higher than 16.5 points. 3x multiplier. All right, college basketball number 2, Hunter Dickinson higher than 9.5 rebounds. I know they're going on the road to Colorado. KU's been terrible on the road this year by their standards. I just don't think that the big men for Colorado are going to put up much of a issue for him to get some boards there. I think that KU, they're not going to shoot as well on the road as they do with the Fog, so there's going to be more boards available offensively. And then defensively, I don't think Colorado shoots all particularly well. So Hunter Dickinson higher than 9.5 rebounds, and you do get a 1.05x multiplier on this one, which is really good. Then we're going Vlad Goldin, the 7-footer, higher than 6.5 rebounds against Nebraska. This Michigan, a big man. Nebraska doesn't really have a matchup for him. He's going to be able to get as many boards as he wants in this game. 6.5, very low. I know that for a 7-footer, he's not like a guy averaging a double-double, but this could be a game where he gets one. So Vlad Goldin higher than 6.5 rebounds. Hunter Dickinson higher than 9.5 rebounds. 3.15x multiplier. All right. Tennis number 1, Donna Vekic higher than 20.5 games played. Simply put, Rengo is a tough player. I think that she's going to push Vekic here. I think that we're going to get a tie break in at least 1 set, or we're going to go 3 sets here. And then Thomas Machak higher than 22.5 games played against Jekko Mensik, his countryman, his doubles partner. Still, I think that this number, I think they're going 3 sets here, and I think there's going to be tie breaks involved. So Machak higher than 22.5 games played. Donna Vekic higher than 20.5 games played. 3x multiplier. Tennis number 2, Miomir Kekmanovic, lower than 0.5 sets lost. I don't think Dan Altmaier is very good. I think Miomir's return game is going to put a lot of pressure on Altmaier's serve. He is going to win in straight sets. Ben Shelton, higher than 23 games played. Cavoli is playing terrible right now. His opponent, Shelton's opponent right now. Cavoli's playing terrible. Hasn't won a match in a very long time, but he plays very well against Ben Shelton. He's beat him in 3 sets both times these guys have played. I think we got another 3-setter here, or at least a tie break and a straightforward one. So higher than 23 games played. That's a 3x multiplier for that one. Lotto number 1, Cade Cunningham, higher than 2.5 3-pointers made. In back-to-backs, he's had a ton of shots, or taken a ton of 3-pointers, and also in back-to-back games, he's had higher than 2.5 3-pointers a little bit over half the time. So give me Cade Cunningham higher than 2.5 3-pointers made. And Anthony Edwards, back-to-back against OKC, higher than 26.5 points. He's a young guy. He's still athletic. He's still explosive. I don't think he's going to have a huge drop-off after playing a big game yesterday against the same opponent. Karis LeVert, this is all over 16.5 points. I think that he didn't play very many minutes yesterday. I think that he's going to be on the court quite a bit for the Hawks here, higher than 16.5 points for Karis LeVert. And then in college hoops, Connor Segian of Nebraska, higher than 2.5 3-pointers made. That's all this guy does. He shoots 3-pointers. If Huskers want to have a shot in this game, he's going to need to shoot probably 7, 8, 9, 10 3-pointers in this game. Let's hope he doesn't have a terrible percentage, because higher than 2.5 3-pointers made is a good multiplier here. This is a 28.3x multiplier if it goes 4 for 4. If you flex it, it's 16.98x or 4.24x if it goes 3 out of 4. Pretty good value there. Lotto number 2, Nick Claxton higher than 0.5 double-doubles. I talked about why I like Nick Claxton today in this matchup. Yusuf Nurkic higher than 0.5 double-doubles. I think that Yusuf is going to have a good game interior and on the interior against the Kings here. Sabonis is going to get a ton of boards, but I think Nurkic is going to do just fine, get 10 boards. He actually is more of a board guy than a point guy, but I think in this particular matchup, in this particular spot, he's going to be able to get 10 points. Kyle Connor, higher than 0.5 goals. Kyle Connor, leading point man for the Jets, one of the more underrated players in the NHL, if you ask me. Give me him to score a goal against the lowly Sharks. And then Nikola Jokic, higher than 50.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I think he's having a massive game against the Pacers here. 35.93x if it goes for 4, or if you flex it, 21.55x or 5.38x if it goes 3 for 4. All right, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for listening. Rate, review, subscribe if you've not done so on this show. I don't know why I have so many YouTube viewers that aren't subscribed. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you for listening. Watch, rate, review, whatever, etc. Good luck on your picks, and let's make some money.